All right, so this is going to be my review of Harrow the Ninth as a spoiler video because I just want to share some of my comments. So if you haven't read this book or you have no idea what this entire series is about, probably scroll past. This was a really good time. I had an enjoyable experience. I did fall into a slump about halfway through, but I will say very worth it. I think it was so cool to figure out that the second person you narrative is because Gideon is describing Harrow's journey. That's so cool. I'm just so glad that she's back. I think it's funny because in Gideon the Ninth, when Gideon dies, it was so painful and so excruciating, and I wanted to sob my eyes out. And I usually am a person who feels like an author needs to accept that they've killed off a character and not just bring them back because we all miss them. If you're going to kill a character, commit to your decision, unless it makes sense in the world that you're in. Given that Harrow the Ninth, given that this entire Locked Tomb series is about necromancy, it is believable that resurrection can occur because it's already occurred. It's baked into the narrative and into the story. And so I think the fact that I'm like desperately wanting Gideon to somehow survive this whole experience is so essential and is something very different than what I usually experience when an author kills off a character. I just think is really interesting because I spent this entire book going, please bring Gideon back. I think the reason why the last 150 pages of this book were so fabulous for me was because we had so much of Gideon's narrative, and Gideon is just the funniest character, like just so hilarious. I love their words and their sarcasm, their humor. It's just their way of being is awesome. I love Gideon. She's absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad that we got back to having some of her voice, and I really don't think this author is going to permanently kill her off because that just doesn't make any sense. Additionally, at the end of this book, it was hinted at strongly that it is possible for her and for Harrow to be separate, that Harrow doesn't need to fully eat Gideon's soul to be a lictor. It's not even hinted at. It's directly stated that that doesn't have to happen. So, plus, I think if I'm right, Gideon's body still hasn't been found. So, does Camille have her body? Who has her body? And can we shove her soul back into it? Is that possible? I don't know. Please bring Gideon back. So I'm so excited to see where the series goes because I loved Gideon, and Harrow's not bad. I enjoyed being in her mind. That was a lot of fun. But whew, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? I also don't know how I feel about the Emperor living. I had an inkling for about like 5 pages before it was revealed that he might be somehow related to Gideon. But then I was like, wait, is it him or is it the other Gideon or is it this like? And then when they brought up Electo, I was like, is Gideon Electo? Is that Gideon's real name? And then oh no, Gideon's the girl. Gideon, Electo was AL, so then what? And then I got a little confused, and they were talking about the eyeball switching thing, and this book got a little crazy. But I think I understand where all that like genetic relation is. But I don't know what this means for how we can resurrect Gideon, because it's great to have their narrative, but I miss their banter, and we don't really have that at all in this book. We have a great combination of the two, and I love the dialogue of each character, but because they're still separate and yet intertwined, it's weird. I just don't know. I just miss the banter between the two when they're speaking to each other. So I really hope that that also comes back into play because that was great. So overall, loved Harrow the Ninth, and thank you to everyone who told me to keep reading because worth it. Let's get started on this book now.